Alright, ladies and gents, hope you're all having a great day. Nerf here to do a quick discussion video about Akali. I've had a stuffy nose for the past few days, so I hope it doesn't get in the way of the video. So I'll try my best. Hopefully it works out. So recently there's a post on Twitter by Riot August who said that he'd be working on a VGU for a female champion. Now Aurelia is already being worked on by Soul Crushed, so it can't be her, which leaves only a few candidates left for it to be. I think that either Akali or LeBlanc are both good candidates for this, so Akali's VGU could be closer than we think it is. Or it's not actually Akali and her VGU won't happen for another 5 years. Who knows, whatever. Anyways, whether it's actually her or not, I thought I would discuss a few things about Akali and talk about things that I definitely would like to stay the same, or at least similar, and things that I'm okay with them changing for her rework. Now, Akali is a pretty weird champion to rework because her Twilight Shroud and her ultimate Shadow Dance are very unique abilities, and what really gives her that Akali feel, and Mark of the Assassin is her bread and butter ability. So right off the bat, you're asking for 3 of her abilities to not be changed too much, which makes reworking her a hard task at hand, right? And a champion like, Warwick, for example, isn't as hard to rework because his only real defining ability is his ultimate, so changing his abilities around isn't all that hard to do. Basically what I'm saying is that Akali is a pretty delicate champion, and the slightest changes to her can all of a sudden not make her feel like Akali anymore, which is why I'm a little concerned about this rework. Now Riot August has designed some really cool champions like Echo and Jhin, so if it is him working on her rework, then I have some faith that he'll do a good job. Now if I had to describe what makes me love Akali, or what ability makes me really love playing her, it would definitely have to be her ultimate Shadow Dance. If I could choose one thing to stay the same about her, or at least really similar, it would definitely be her ultimate. Shadow Dance is a unique ability that really makes you feel like you're playing a hypermobile assassin ninja that can fly around during team fights and wreak havoc all over the place. Sure, you could make the argument that it's just a generic and boring dash, but the fact that you can have multiple charges at once and that you get extra charges for takedowns makes this ability really cool. I've always thought of Akali as sort of the AP version of Master Yi. Basically, if you can get your CC down on Master Yi in a team fight, he's basically done for about 99% of the time. But if the Yi player is smart and dodges your CC, then he can get rolling and absolutely carry the fight all by himself. And this is sort of the same way for Akali. If she gets caught out or CC'd, then she can be done for. But if the Akali player is smart and utilizes her Shroud and Ultimate to their full potential, then she can carry the fight all by herself. And, her ultimate is what really allows her to do this. Getting a dash with a pretty good range that gets resets on takedowns allows her to keep going, unlike a lot of other assassins who are really just one and done, as it really separates her from the rest in my opinion. I feel that they should definitely keep this in mind when reworking her, because I know that most Akali players would agree that Shadow Dance is definitely one of her most important abilities. Twilight Shroud is her other defining ability that separates her from all of the other stealth users in this game in my opinion. So what I find really cool about Akali's stealth is that she is confined to a really small area, whereas other assassins could be anywhere when they use their stealth. I feel like this gives Akali's stealth mechanic the most counterplay because you know exactly where she is when she uses it, unlike Rengar or Eve for example, who could be anywhere on the map. I've seen a lot of people argue that her stealth has no counterplay because you can't use pink words or proximity to reveal her, but I would argue that being able to know that she's stealthed in an incredibly small area has a ton of counterplay to it. Back in the day when Akali could be revealed by pink wards, the ability was kind of a pub stomper in the lower elos because nobody would ever buy them, and it'd be almost useless in the higher elos because 2 or 3 people would always have pink wards on them at the same time. Making it that so she's no longer revealed by pink wards was a smart decision in my opinion, because it made the ability viable at all elos and gave her more options to work with. Now don't forget that they did add Shimmer to the game, so if your team has any AoE whatsoever, then you can see exactly where she is in her Shroud, which adds even more counterplay to the ability. I think that as long as they keep her stealth mechanic as invisibility and not camouflage, and also keep it confined to a small area of some sort, then I'm fine with them changing the ability around for her rework. The ability definitely has potential to be a lot cooler than it currently is, so I think it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with it, and hopefully it turns out for the better. Her passive, Mark of the Assassin, and Crescent Slash are the last things on the list, and they could honestly change these around a lot, and I wouldn't care too much. As long as your passive is split up into two different things like how it always has been, then they can really do whatever they want to it, and I won't be that upset. I would like the healing she gets from her passive to stay in some shape or form, but I understand that this can make her frustrating to play against, as seeing her heal back up when she's close to death can really suck to play against. You know, going up against an assassin that's also a drain tank can kind of be annoying to play against and suck. So, you know, I'd understand if they'd like to take it away or move it to a different part of her kit. Her healing is definitely one aspect that can make her annoying to play against. So, although I'd like her healing to stay, I understand if they completely remove it from her kit. It's whatever. Mark of the Assassin is Akali's bread and butter ability, but it doesn't really have all that much skill expression attached to it. You know, you sort of just throw out a targeted ability at a unit and then prog it with an auto attack to do bonus damage, and that's basically it. Now, I love using the ability, but there's nothing much that you can really do with it in terms of skill. Being able to have your opponent marked with almost 0 town time is something else that people can get frustrated by, but it's also something that's really cool to Akali players. I think that if they added more skill expression to the ability, then it'd be okay for her to have 100% uptime on marking her opponents, or, you know, at least when she has more points put into her queue. They're more likely than not going to make this a skill shot with some other things attached to it, and I think that's okay. One thing that I enjoy is that when you mark someone with Mark of the Assassin, it doesn't do all that much damage to them, and what really does all the heavy lifting is getting that auto attack off to proc it and do a ton of damage to them. This puts a little more risk and skill expression into her kit, and also it makes her more fun to play. I think that keeping this aspect of her queue would be something that I'd like to stay and see in her rework. Alright, finally her E, Crescent Slash. I think it's pretty safe to say that this is probably one of the most boring abilities in all of League of Legends. It was kinda cool back when you could use it to proc Mark of the Assassin, but since they removed that, you know, this ability has become pretty lame. The only time you ever use this ability is at the end of your combos and for clearing waves. But, you know, other than that, she doesn't really have many uses for it. They could definitely make this ability something completely different than from what it currently is, and I wouldn't care at all. What they do with this ability could really make or break her rework for me, because, you know, Riot has a ton of freedom when it comes to this ability, so if they didn't do anything with it, then it'd be pretty lame. I really can't think of anything cool that they could do with it off the top of my head, but the goal they should have in mind is definitely to give her something to add more skill expression to her kit, and something that makes her unique from other assassins. This is definitely an ability that they're going to completely change, so I'm excited to see what they end up doing with it, and hopefully it makes her more fun to play. So just to sum everything up, I hope that Akali's ult stays really close to the way it is today, because that's really what gives her the identity that is Akali, and what keeps me playing her constantly, and why I'll never stop playing her. It would be preferable if they kept her shroud mostly the same, because the ability just gives her so much room to outplay her opponents if she uses it well. It also comes with a ton of counterplay compared to the other stealth in this game, because it's confined to a small place, which gives her opponents knowledge of exactly where she is, which I think is really fair and balanced. When they rework Akali, if they kept her ult and shroud the same, or at least close to how they are today, then I won't be too upset if they changed around her other abilities a lot. Her passive Q and E all have a lot of room to be toyed with, so if they end up being a lot different than from what they are right now, I wouldn't mind too much. Akali has historically been an annoying champion to play against if you're not good at dealing with assassins that are really good at snowballing, and I think the issue could be fixed if they added a lot more skill expression to her kit by changing her passive Q and E. With that being said, that's all I have to say about this, and if you have any questions or comments, then feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I will definitely make another video when Akali's rework comes out, so thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.